Good morning and happy Mother's Day. You be sure to call your mother and express your appreciation for all she's done for you. And if there's any bygones to be let go, let them bygones go. I mean, because the family is a tough thing, especially in the Black community. Many of you, hopefully you've had a chance to look at that video that I sent out. And you can't really argue with the thing because this brother was talking about his life. And it's so true. Now, I know a lot of us don't want to hear about this stuff, and we want to, you don't want to think about this, you don't want to deal with this and all that. But let me tell you something. If you want God moving in your life, you got to be willing to get in the fray and do what He intends for you to do. Okay, you have to be available to Him, and God does speak to you. He uses you and all that. The way this came to me was amazing. The way this came to me, I came down to do my exercises, and I turned on the television set and turned on YouTube, because I like to watch a lot of YouTube, although they turned it into garbage. But anyway, the first thing that popped up is there's a video that I attached to the end of this, which is a person of a lighter hue and their address to the situation and their view of the situation. And then the very next video was this brother, and he broke it down, and it's excellent. It's excellent. Like I said, he spoke, and even though he's had a tough start, he's gonna, I got great hopes for this guy. So, bruh, if you see this video, keep running. And just looking at it, the way, the enemy wants to keep us down, keep us from ever waking up, keep us asleep, keep us, separated from each other and not supporting one another. We have to be a threat. Otherwise, he wouldn't concentrate on us so hard. And just like a little young brother said, this is happening all over the world. This ain't, America ain't got a corner on that. And that's a sign to me that if and when we wake up, God got plans for us. You know what I mean? And just keep in mind. Everything we get into, we shoot to the top. Whether it be sports or school or whatever it is. As soon as we put our mind to it, we tough. But we've been convinced that we can't do anything. The way that the current environment is encouraging us to just be asleep. And like I said, right now, we don't want to be bothered. We want a nice, safe slide out. But I'm speaking right now to the elders of the Black community. Us. It's our turn. We got to step to the plate, And like he said, we got our kids, they start listening to this gangster rap, when they're 4 or 5 years old, because the parents is listening to it, because the parents are young and single and all that in a lot of the inner city setups, and the family's been destroyed, so there's no good, strong male role models, and so it's tough, Now we grew up, many of us grew up, and it was different back then. Like I say, I'm in my 70s now. And back then, men just didn't want to, men were ashamed if they couldn't take care of their family, and they would do anything to do that. And they wouldn't take no welfare. You might get a little, we got a little government cheese and powdered milk. But daddy wouldn't take no check from nobody. No, he wouldn't allow that. But now, they've deadened us to the place where they want to make everything acceptable. They want to make everything inclusive. As a matter of fact, the video that I have that's attached on the end is an example of how they're trying to enable wrong behavior, but the person has a good intention. They just don't get it. They don't quite understand, and they're trying to make it seem like the Black culture is one where, it's just violent and we're wild and we don't want the same things as other people want. But but if you pump into a kid the stuff that they be saying on these rap songs, I mean, talking about killing each other and messing over the women and being proud of having, you want to have 6 or 7 babies all over town. And you want to brag about that. And as a matter of fact, a lot of the brothers and sisters that actually make it out and are in positions of authority and all that, they always, they always referring back, just like the brother said, referring back to the fact that they came out the hood and, and they smoked the weed and they did this and they did that, and glorifying the things that are just destroying our community. We got to stop that. And if you add to that the media, I mean, they're sowing fear and trying to encourage behavior that is not of God, and they don't even know what's right and wrong because of what they believe. But they're going against what God would have us, the way God would have us be. I mean, now they're talking about, not only are they talking about the pandemic, but now that it's cooling down a little bit and they're trying to let some people out sometimes, now they're talking about an attack of killer yellow jacket bumblebees that's to come in through Washington and all that. And now they're fear mongering about that. And now all of a sudden, we're gonna have these bees around. They're gonna be killing us too. But you better not go outside because, we gotta keep you safe and nobody's gotta keep me safe. No. God created us to be independent and free will people. And it is not for somebody, it is not the government's job to determine my level of risk. Yeah, there's a role for the government, but the government serves the people, not the people serve the government. And there are a number of situations going on in our country right now where they're trying to convince you that you ain't never going to go outside again. You ain't going to never have a job. And the government's going to just start sending you money. You don't want that. Because if you want to see the example of that, just look at what's happening in the inner city right now. You know what I mean? After 10 or 15 generations of that, the people that are coming out of it don't have any work ethic. They don't have the good training. When we grew up, we did the wild thing and all that kind of stuff. We had, cars jacked up and all this kind of stuff. Matter of fact, I grew up in the country. but at 17, I moved out of my daddy's house because I didn't want him telling me what to do all the time. And if I lived in daddy's house, I did what daddy said. That's just how it went. I mean, there was only one man in the house, and that was daddy. And that wasn't me. Okay. I moved out when I was 17 and went straight to what I thought was the hood. You know what I mean? The ghetto. Remember, I know some of y'all remember that. The ghetto. And we glorified the ghetto back then. But at the same time, we had James Brown. I had all of James Brown stuff. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Say it loud. And that's what we grew up on. But now, all they talk about is killing each other and doing drugs. And, just like the brother said, he broke it down. And it is killing our neighborhoods. It's killing it. And I'm going to tell you what we're going to have to do. And it's all supported by the money. And we got to get the money out of it. That's the bottom line. Okay. Now, I like to read a scripture. 2 Thessalonians 6. Chapter 3, verse 6. Let's start at verse 6. In the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we command you, brothers and sisters, to keep away from every believer who is idle and disruptive and does not live according to the teachings you received from us. For you yourselves know how you ought to follow our example. We were not idle when we were with you, nor did we eat anyone's food without paying for it. On the contrary, we worked night and day, laboring and toiling so that we would not be a burden to any of you. We did this not because we do not have the right to do such help, but in order to offer ourselves as a model for you to imitate. For even when we were with you, we gave you this rule: the one who is unwilling to work shall not eat. We hear that some among you are idle and disruptive. They are busy. They are not busy. They are busybodies. Such people we command and urge in the Lord Jesus Christ to settle down and earn the food they eat. And as for you, brothers and sisters, never tire of doing what is good. Take special note of anyone who does not obey our instructions in this letter. Do not associate with them in order that they may feel ashamed. Yet do not regard them as an enemy, but warn them as you would a fellow believer. They done went so far they almost tried to they've tried to get shame out of our there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, you can weigh 600 pounds and barely can walk. It don't make no difference. They're trying to make everything okay. In other words, you know, take off all restraint, and that is against God. Okay, and I mean, some of the problems with some of the inner city schools is causing a problem because there's too many of us graduating from school and can't read and we're not learning anything. We're just being passed through because the schools in those areas are no good. Yet, there's a plan out to try to, have school choice where instead of just like they do, if they send you food stamps, they don't tell you what store to go to and all that kind of stuff. They let you go to the store and you buy what you want to buy. Well, why can't they do that with the schools? Because see, right now, the people that are running this whole thing there's no incentive for the schools to get better. But if we had if we empowered the people in the city, just a small thing like this, empowered the people that are forced to go to these schools to allow themselves to give their children a much better shot by sending them to better schools, the schools in their areas would get better because they'd have to or they'd go out of business. But no, they don't want that. No. What we're going to do for you guys is, we're going to not only give you welfare, and not only give you a place, but we're going to increase it so you got more money so you'll never have to move out, and they're trying to, and they're using that because there's money in it. You know what I mean? It's almost like you know how they do chickens on the farm that lay eggs? They put them in these little boxes and they can't even move. And all they can do is lean down and eat. You know what I mean? And they fatten them up and they let them lay eggs and they can't even walk. You know what I'm saying? Some of the breasts so big they can't even stand up. And it's almost like that's how they doing us, because in a lot of these inner city setups with these checks coming in there, you can't get out. And the young brothers have got nothing to model after except for the other brothers that have gone through the same situation, and the only thing that they believe that they can do is either be a rapper, an athlete, or a thug. You know what I'm saying? And that's not true. But you can't even break that. And myself, when I was running the church, I started a construction company, and we was going around doing houses. Tough. That was the toughest thing I ever did. We have guys showing up, and even now they show up because I got a little construction stuff I do and all that. They show up now and they come ready for work and got one hand holding their pants up because they don't know no better. They don't know no better. And I tell them right off the bat, I say, well, look, I'm not gonna hire one hand. I want two hands. You got to put a rope or something on that so you can actually work, man. And then the other problem that we got is that we teach them, through the music and all that they don't know how to deal with authority. They don't know how to follow directions. You know what I'm saying? Because that's taught. Those things are in the human race. We're taught those kinds of things. They don't come intuitively or with instinct. You know what I mean? So we got this attitude. You can't tell me what to do. Well, if can't nobody tell you what to do, can't nobody use you, and you'll never make any money. Okay? But they don't get that message. And then we tell our kids, like if something go wrong and something go bad, we tell them, and the police gonna kill him. It's the police's fault. You didn't have to stop him from that. He was running away from you, and he was trying to get. He didn't hurt him. No. You need to be telling them like my old man told me. I better not go home. Now the police looking for me. I'd be running to the police. He wouldn't have it. When I was a kid, I was 10. I was 10 at the time, and I had a couple of lawnmower jobs because if you had, they didn't give you money because they didn't have it. It was on the government cheese and all that stuff, all that kind of stuff. And I remember when I had a couple of lawns that I would cut over in the Brothers of a Lighter Hue neighborhoods, but they was about maybe a mile and a half away. And Dad was working second shift. So, and so he'd leave around 11 o'clock. So I wasn't big enough. I couldn't start the lawnmower because it was an old raggedy lawnmower anyway. And he would start the lawnmower before he left the house. And then I had to keep that lawnmower running until I got finished with the work, including cutting that acre lot that he had. I used to run with the lawnmower, dragging it through the yard. But then I had to push that lawnmower, a mile and a half, running. And I'm running. I got the lawnmower and the gas can and everything. And I had to get over there and I had to cut them people's yards and not let the lawnmower go off. You think, the one thing I learned out of that, yes, you can. Yes, you can. But see, in the environment that they're in now, they're taught not to touch nothing because they don't own anything. They can't work on nothing, and there's a lot of very intelligent, great potential people stuck in that environment. But like I say, the schools ain't no good. And see, so what we need to do, a couple of things we need to do, One of the things we need to do is get the money out of this rap game. And what he said is right, and the way that for that to happen, I'm praying that some of these elder, successful role models, rappers, the Snoop Dogs and the folks, all them kind of folks, that they hear some of this. I was sending comments and stuff like that. But we need to all be sending comments. Cut this stuff out. Bring a positive message. Let's get the word out that we need that we're not going to glorify sin anymore. We're going to do it God's way. Stop glorifying that stuff. And stop, and as far as you're concerned with your kid, see what they're listening to. Don't let them sit around listening there all the time. I know it's tough. Talk to the radio stations. We had these call-ins and all that kind of stuff. Hey, why don't we talk about this on the radio station? Why is it every time we start talking about something, it's somebody else's problem? Well, let me tell you something. Nobody is concerned about this, regardless of how we got here. Nobody's concerned about this but us. Okay? This is our problem. And to push it off on somebody, it won't work because they don't understand. Okay? They don't get it. As a matter of fact, what the social justice warriors and all them kind of people that come in, they come in from a position of pity or whatever that is, and what they're trying to do is make it acceptable for us to do the things that are not acceptable in the way the world works, because God set this thing up. And yeah, you can choose to do whatever you want to do, but you cannot choose the outcome. So we must begin to petition God. What did he say? If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then I will hear from heaven and then I will heal the land. The inner city Black community is under assault. Okay? And we have the authority to go before God and pray about that situation. You have to be informed about it, though. We gotta wake up. We gotta get our head about the sand. We gotta stop looking for somebody to save us. We gotta stop trying to, because you can do it. I can do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And he didn't stutter when he said that. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So whatever he got in front of me, I can do it. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in front of me. You know what I mean? But you gotta trust him that way. The whole thing about fear, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love. But a spirit of love. And what's he saying? As long as you consider all you're concerned about is you, and you don't want to get involved, you don't want to get your hands dirty, we don't want to get it, we don't want to do nothing. That ain't my problem, that's their problem. And it'll continue. It'll continue. And this young brother's stepping up, and I want to help him. I want to help him with his message. I mean, he looked like he's about 30 or something like that. I don't know nothing about him. He's over from England and all that kind of stuff. But that was real talk. And we can pretend like or think that there's nothing we can do about it. But with God, all things are possible. You can do whatever you have to do. And if you just take off in that direction, I've seen it happen. This happened to me. Just take off in that direction. You know, and he will open doors. He'll hear what you're saying. He'll talk to you because you're available to him. You know what I mean? And I want to make one last statement. Yeah. Because, you know, there's still, I hear concerns a lot about, you know, if God is, if God knows everything, how can I have free will? Well, you know, I heard a perfect analogy. If you're getting ready to watch a football game and you know, somebody, a friend of yours or somebody, you know, the game was earlier in the day and a friend of yours called you up and told you what the score was, or you heard what the score was on the radio. When you sit down to watch that game, the fact that you know what the outcome is doesn't affect what the players on the field did. They all operated under free will. And that's how God is. God did that thing. He done seen the whole game. He saw the whole game. Okay? You know, everything that's going to happen. But he ain't making us do anything. He gives us unctions. You know, with the Holy Spirit in you, you can begin to know who he is. You know what I'm saying? He'll speak into your head, and you know, so you can make decisions, all that kind of stuff. So we have everything we need. We just don't know it. You know, we just don't know it. So what I'm saying, y'all, it's time for us to kick it in and kick it down. Kick it in and stop and stop making choices against our own interest. Look around and look at the places where we're having the problems, and look at the policies that they got going on and what's causing it and where it's at. And don't let because see, the media is doing the same thing that the rap music, you know, the gangster rap is doing to our community. They are feeding us fear. You know, bumblebees coming and this is gonna be wrong and you know they you know, don't look at that, look at this, don't look at that, look at this, you know, and casting the blame everywhere because you know they don't want you to feel responsible for it, because as soon as you feel responsible for it, you'll wake up and you'll do something about it, because ain't nobody coming for you. Okay, ain't nobody coming. You here, and that's why you here, and that's why you got all that Holy Spirit in you. And like I said, if you coming to God because you're looking for your own comfort and you're looking for your own take care of and all that kind of stuff, yeah, he'll start with that. But he wants a return on his investment, and that's you on your knees. That's you being bold enough to say what thus saith the Lord. That's you doing the things, being the hands and feet and voice for God. So let's all step to the plate. We are waking up. We have an impact. Let's get involved. Let's kick it in. And like I said, happy Mother's Day, because Mom, we gonna help you out too, okay? You know, and let's get back to families and values and all that stuff, and don't buy the stuff that they're trying to sell you. They're trying to tell you that, you know, all the stuff, the sinful stuff and all the stuff that they're casting off all restraint, and they're trying to get us to the place where you know, like just like the video you're about to see. Now, this person has a good heart and they're doing the best they can, but she's trying to justify the ability for this young man to do wrong and change everybody to start calling it right. That's not the message. That's not the message. No, don't try to leave me in my old filth and try to make my filth okay. Wake me up, show me the right way. Let's roll, guys. In Jesus' name.
Have you ever been given a set of facts, and based on that evidence, come to a conclusion that made you believe you were absolutely right? A few years back, I was contacted by a defense attorney who asked if I'd be an expert witness in a case involving an aspiring rapper who had been charged with making a terrorist threat. This would be my first official expert witness case, so I jumped at the chance. And as a professor of criminology, as well as a rap music scholar, this doesn't look like a rap music scholar. I was ready to jump at the chance. So as soon as I received the evidence, I immediately got to work. Now, this particular case came to trial as a result of just 6 short lines of text. The lines were, Glock to the head of, send $2 to a PayPal account. If this account doesn't reach $50,000 in the next 7 days, then a murderous rampage similar to the Virginia Tech shooting will occur at another highly populated university. This is not a joke. Okay, admittedly, seeing these words on the page all by their lonesome make it pretty darn easy to jump to a conclusion about what this aspiring rapper's up to, right? And I've got to admit, when I read those words for the first time, even my gut reaction was, oh please, this guy is so guilty. But I knew from years of research that you cannot pass judgment until all the evidence has been reviewed. So, I began by trying to understand just how these words landed in the hands of the Southern Illinois University campus police. One day while on patrol, they spotted an abandoned car, searched it, and found typical college student possessions inside, along with a piece of paper inconspicuously tucked between the driver's seat and the center console. Now, on one side of that paper were the 6 lines of threatening text. But if you flip the paper over, there were line after line of what appeared to be rap lyrics. Lines like, let them booty cheeks hop. Seriously, I can't make this stuff up. Let them booty cheeks hop, so pop it, mommy, pop it. I'ma do it like this, daddy. Follow that thing to the ground when she drop it. Well, the minute I saw these rhyming rap lyrics on the other side of the threatening note, I had a sneaking suspicion that this college student was not a plotting terrorist, but an aspiring gangster rapper. But that's not how the police saw it. These 6 lines of text were enough evidence to secure a search warrant and comb through the defendant, Olutosin Odewale's campus apartment. During the search, they uncovered his notebooks filled with violent and misogynistic lyrics that he had penned, and a gun. This was enough evidence to charge Odewale, a college student with no prior convictions, with attempting to communicate a terrorist threat. Now, Odewale admitted to the gun possession charges, but he adamantly denied he was a terrorist planning to carry out acts of violence. He stood by his story that the 6 lines of text were just notes or ideas for a rap song he was working on. In preparation for testifying, I reviewed hundreds of pages of evidence from Odewale's notebooks. As I painstakingly analyzed line after line of the evidence, wading through stanza after stanza of violent and misogynistic lyrics, I would land upon an occasional random page that had notes from a class, a letter to a girl, and the terms of the rap contract that Odewale one day dreamed of landing. After careful review of this evidence, I was pretty certain Odewale was unequivocally not a terrorist. He was just a wannabe rapper whose shocking and offensive lyrics were out of a fear of terrorism, being completely misinterpreted. Trial day arrived, and I was ready to share my findings. That is, until I walked into the courtroom and stood face to face with an all-white, middle-aged jury. This was 2011. I could barely believe my eyes. But despite the lack of diversity, I was certain the evidence would prevail. So when I took the witness stand, I spent the next several hours educating the jury on the finer points of gangster rap. For example, in the rap world, the more violent your lyrics, the more respect you'll have in the rap community. And the more violent and misogynistic your music, well, the more songs you'll sell. Considering the business, it was not surprising to me at all that Odewale's lyrics portrayed a violent persona and the glorification of guns, both of which are staples of gangster rap. And I also explained to the jury that not all lyrics rhyme or flow, and that the 6 lines of text that the prosecution had rested their case upon could be what's referred to in the music business as an intro or an outro, or unrhymed spoken words that either introduce or conclude a song to give it more edge or make it more meaningful. It was my professional opinion that the 6 lines of text were either notes or ideas for a new rap song, or were the intro or outro to a song, not a terrorist threat. Well, when I stood off that witness stand and stepped down, I felt confident that I had shared my findings with the jury, that I had compellingly delivered my arguments. And in just 3 short hours, the verdict: guilty. Odewale was sentenced to 5 years and whisked off to prison. And I was completely stunned. How had the jury been unable to see the truth? For weeks, I replayed the case over and over in my mind. How were the prosecution's arguments more persuasive than my highly researched evidence? And then it dawned on me. While I had presented the cold, hard facts, the prosecuting attorney, he dialed up the courtroom emotion and played to the jury's fears. At one point, he even slammed down Odewale's gun on the witness stand, leaned in close, stared me dead in the eye, and asked, "Now does that change your opinion about what's written in the 6 lines of text?" It was in that moment I realized how the prosecution swayed the jury. Emotions trump logic every time. And the power of emotions led me to this question. Would this case be the same if the defendant was white? Student plus white male plus rap equals a wannabe rapper. And if you add gun to the equation, well, he's lost his way, needs some counseling. But if you swap in black male for white, it adds up to something very different. Student plus black male plus rap equals someone who's headed for trouble. And if you bring in a gun, well, then he is certainly a thug destined for prison. It's been 3 years since I testified in the Odewale trial. And since then I've wondered, is he the only aspiring rapper this has happened to? Knowing the system failed this young man and sent him to prison for terrorism troubled me to the core. And thankfully, I was not alone. The Odewale verdict drew widespread scrutiny from First Amendment rights attorneys, journalists, musicians, and academics alike. I started seeing op-eds featuring the case, several of which were written by an assistant professor at the University of Richmond, who researches rap and hip-hop culture. Within short order, this professor and I got together and discovered that rap lyrics are turning up with alarming regularity as evidence in courtrooms across the country. In fact, our research has uncovered hundreds of these cases. And what's so crazy is that it's virtually unheard of for musicians outside of rap to have their lyrics introduced as evidence against them. Not for rock, not for punk, not even for heavy metal. Over the last year, my colleague and I have publicized our research findings. And just last month, we wrote a brief to educate the justices about gangster rap for a rap lyrics case that will soon be heard by the US Supreme Court. In all our work, we argue that rather than treat rap as a form of artistic expression, Prosecutors like to say that the music is autobiographical, that rappers are just sharing the stories of their lives. The problem with portraying rap as autobiographical is that the characters portrayed in rap are often nothing like the artists themselves. And in some cases, like Odawale's, the lyrics themselves are the crime, being positioned as an imminent threat to the public. But no matter the prosecution's tactics, using rap lyrics as evidence almost always results in unfair prejudice. In case after case, defendants have been found guilty and sent off to prison. But why? In an experimental study, a social psychologist presented two groups of diverse subjects with an identical set of violent lyrics. The lyrics were, "Well, early one evening, I was roaming around, I was feeling kinda mean, I shot a deputy down." Now, the first group was told that these lyrics came from a rap song, and the second, from a country song. I bet you can guess the findings of this study. What was discovered was the first group, who thought they had rap lyrics, viewed the words as more threatening and dangerous compared to the group who thought they had country. Even though the lyrics were exactly identical, both groups likely had preconceived ideas about each type of music. Country's made by good old Southern white boys, and rap is made by urban black criminals. So what happens in these cases is this. By prosecutors playing to juries' preconceived notions about rap music, they also tap into race, which ratchets up public fear and reinforces old and new stereotypes about young men of color as inherently threatening and dangerous. Which leads me to this. Are these increases in rap trials just another example that racism in this country is alive and well? And how many more false convictions and acts of violence against our own people will it take before we say, enough? For me, the tipping point will arrive when we admit as a country that we are still playing out old racial stereotypes. Then, and only then, will we begin to heal from our collective and historical wounds. We have to remember, and we can never forget, that our nation and its people are one, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.